Hey, what's up, everybody? This is just a quick intro for part 2 of my presentation. How do we get from where we are to a world of complete freedom? If you haven't seen part 1, please watch that one first because it sets up the reason why you need to watch part 2 so that we can create a world of complete freedom for everybody. And it really illustrates how the system operates to completely enslave us in a way that most people are completely oblivious to and are unaware that it's even happening. So part 1 sets this up, and then part 2, again, this is what I've been working on for 18 years of my life. This is a macro solution to the human condition, and this is how we peacefully restore natural law, reclaim all of our power, and institute a system that actually protects our individual sovereignty in a way that's never been done before in history. So, I hope you enjoy this and find it extremely informative. We've just covered the difference between positive law and natural law, come to the conclusion that if we want to create a world of complete freedom, we must align fully with natural law. Okay, how do we create a world aligned with natural law? All right, this is the third question we're going to answer here. But before we cover that, what I want to do is go over some quotes that have really been the driving force behind my work, for the last 18 years. Because early on in my awakening, 2007 to 2010, I was doing what everyone else was doing, right? Trying to awaken people and trying to figure out how we can fix the system, right? We're going to stick it to the man. We're going to fix the system. We're going to get the right people in there. Before I realized that the system can't be fixed. Okay? So the first quote that's a driving force behind my work is from Henry David Thoreau. There are 1,000 hacking at the branches of evil to one who is striking at the root. And this is what I see every single day of my life on social media. Right? We got people talking about the problems, obsessing on the problems, trying to fix government, saying things like Trump is going to save us, Musk is going to save us, look at what they're doing. This is all hacking at the branches of evil. Because what you're doing is you're propping up a system of positive law that's only oppressing you and stealing from you. And trying to patch things here and there is part of the deception of keeping you enslaved in the matrix, right? And what they have planned to replace what they're supposedly fixing right now is much worse. Because that's why they were put into place right now. They couldn't get away with implementing the next phase of positive law or complete surveillance of society with the digital panopticon without putting someone in to make people believe that he's actually fixing the system, right? It's all part of the deception. My work is all about striking at the root, right? Because if you don't focus on dismantling the matrix, you're just hacking at the branches of evil. And so striking at the root is dismantling the matrix, and striking at the root is getting people to realize that the matrix is the problem. The system is the problem. And trying to prop it up and fix it is just hacking at the branches. So stop that. The next quote is from Einstein. The world we have made as a result of the level of thinking we have done thus far creates problems that we cannot solve at the same level at which we have created them. Right? That's hacking at the branches of evil. We shall require a substantially new manner of thinking if humankind is to survive. We need to get outside of the box completely. Right? We have to think outside of the matrix, outside of the Babylon system, outside of positive law to create something if we're going to survive, and not only survive but thrive, like I said earlier, right? And that's what I've done with all my work, as you'll see moving forward. I've completely thought differently, and I've thought outside of the box to create something so that humankind can survive in freedom, in complete freedom. And the final quote here is from Buckminster Fuller, and this is the big one. You never change things by fighting the existing reality. You can't fight the system. That's hacking at the branches of evil. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. And that's what I've done. I've done that with my work. I have a model that completely makes the existing model obsolete and creates a world of complete freedom because it's fully aligned with natural law. Okay? So, those are the 3 quotes that have been driving my work. So how do we create a world aligned with natural law? All right, let's start with some critical thinking questions, because I love the Socratic method, right? Critical thinking questions we must ask. Number 1, what are the mechanisms which bind us to this current system? All right, and there are many mechanisms that keep us trapped in the matrix. First one, are the adhesion contracts based in constructive fraud, right? It all starts with that birth certificate. That's an adhesion contract. An adhesion contract is a contract which puts one party of the contract in a position of power over the other party, right? There's an unequal balance of power in an adhesion contract. And they're all based in constructive fraud because we don't agree to these contracts with full disclosure of the terms, right? We don't have informed consent to adhere or agree to these contracts, right? Essentially, every document you sign with the government is converting your natural rights into a privilege, which can then be taken away if you don't abide by their positive laws, right? You either comply or else. So, adhesion contracts based in constructive fraud are the key to binding us to this current system. And I'm going to show you how we break those. Number 2, every national and state constitution is based in positive law. You know, all those people out there hacking at the branches of evil saying we have to return to the Constitution, you know, we have to get back to the Constitution and no, that's not the solution. That's hacking at the branches of evil. And I did a video a couple of years, 3 years ago now, that proved part 1 of my Creating a Natural Law Republic series was called The Constitution Confidence Game Revealed. And it proves beyond a shadow of any doubt that the Constitution that everybody worships was never meant to last more than one generation. And by the words of Lysander Spooner, has no authority other than the authority that we perceive it has over us, right? It's all an illusion. So if we have a constitution that's based in positive law, that constitution is about imposing an illegitimate authority's will on us. And they get us to believe, right? They teach you what to believe, not how to think. They get us to believe that it's there to protect our rights, when all it does is it takes our rights away. It converts our rights into privileges. Now, how did that Constitution work out for you during the whole COVID scam from 2020 on? You know, did that Constitution protect your rights, or were you forced to do things against your will? Yeah, no one in this world has a Constitution that protects their natural rights. Not a single Constitution. The one that I've written and proposed as the macro solution in creating a natural law republic, I believe is the first Constitution in history that has been written fully aligned with natural law, that would restore all power back to the individual and create a world of complete freedom. That's what I'm saying is the macro solution. Okay? Moving on. Ignorance of objective reality and dogmatic false belief. All right? That's one of the mechanisms binding us to the system. And the ignorance is created by the system itself, right? It teaches you what to believe. And then we develop these dogmatic false beliefs because our ego refuses to allow us to admit that we're wrong, that we've been deceived, right? Because the system is not objective reality. The system is a false reality. Objective reality is natural law. And most people are ignorant of it. And that ignorance, false dogmatic false belief, and ego creates cognitive dissonance, normalcy, and confirmation biases, right? If you try and tell someone the truth, their brain short circuits and they say, oh, that can't be true. That's ridiculous. And they go out and look for information that confirms their biases and returns back to their old normal, right? Because they think they're free in this system when it's just been abusing them their entire lives. That's Stockholm syndrome, right? Fear of consequences for challenging authority. I can't tell you how many people I've exposed this information to, showing how we break free of the system. Said, oh, well, but what are they going to do? This is what they'll do. That's fear. That's a fear reaction, right? You're admitting that you're a slave to the system if you're worried about what they're going to do. If we're going to create a world of complete freedom, we can't worry about what might happen, because once we get to critical mass, there's nothing they can do anyway. We're not asking permission. We have no obligation to remain on this plantation. Like Samuel Adams said, we're free at any time to go join a new society. And that's what I'm proposing. And I'm going to show you how we do it in safety. Okay? Mass formation psychosis, which was brought to us by Matthias Desmet during the pandemic, and ideological subversion and demoralization, which Yuri Bezmenov exposed us to in the 80s, right? All these are mechanisms that bind us to the current system. But one of the most powerful mechanisms is lack of focus on what really needs to be done, right? This goes back to hacking at the branches of evil and not striking at the root. Focusing on the problems and what they're bringing in, and oh my God, can you believe it? And every time people invoke the word will, they're essentially giving power to the system that's being built to enslave us, right? This will be our future. Stop it. Stop giving it power. Stop giving your attention to things that won't be if we decide to create something else. Because you're focusing your attention on something that's wasting time that could be going towards focusing on what needs to be done, right? And Karl Rove, one of George Bush's advisors during his administration from 2000 to 2008, he said this. He admitted this to the media right around 2003, 2004. Now, listen to lack of focus on what really needs to be done, right? We're an empire now. And when we act, we create our own reality. And while you're studying that reality, judiciously as you will, we'll act again, creating other new realities, which you can study too. And that's how things will sort out. We are history's actors. And you, all of you, will be left to just study what we do, right? Now, is that not how the world works? Is that not what creates the lack of focus? Is that not what distracts people? Because essentially what he's saying here is y'all are stuck in reactive mode. And we're just going to keep on creating new realities. And you're going to keep on reacting to those new realities, those new normals, right? What we were told about COVID. We're entering into a new normal now. They created those realities. And we reacted to them, and we study them, and we say, oh, can you believe they did this to us? And, oh, let's go chase the Wuhan, escape from Wuhan kind of red herring and gain a function. And they're creating all these realities for us to hack the branches of evil at, right? And we're distracted from what really needs to be done. And he's telling us right here to our face. So we need to get out of reactive mode, and we need to start being proactive. And start creating a world that we want. This is the world that we want to live in. We're done with the matrix. We're done with your system, right? Focus on what needs to be done and stop hacking at the branches of evil. So how do we go about voiding these adhesion contracts, right? We're going to get to that. What is the critical mass tipping point for reclaiming our power? And how would you do it more effectively if not the proposed course of action? Right? What we're going to cover here, I haven't seen anybody offer a better plan. Nowhere in the world. Because again, most people are hacking at the branches of evil. They're not striking at the root. And I've had a lot of people with their black-pilled nihilism come in and crap all over my proposals without actually looking at them. You know, that's what the blog that's pinned to my Facebook profile is, open letter to the petty critics about my work. Show me what you have. And if you want to criticize my work, actually look at it. Don't just project your ignorant opinions, your ignorant programmed opinions onto my work without actually looking at it. Because that's the problem. So all these questions are answered in the Freedom Project 2020 website. 3 months into the pandemic, I sat down on June 10th, and the day I actually launched my business, I was like, okay, that's good. I'm going to put it on the back burner. What's really important now is getting this information to the world. Had I focused on the business, I don't know if I ever would have gotten around to this. But this was, to me, was the most important thing. And the tagline of the Freedom Project 2020 is, the time has come to restore individual sovereignty worldwide. I spent 5 months working on building this website as a portal to the solution. The entire world has been deceived at a level never before seen in history. Right? This is 3 months into 2 weeks to flatten the curve. And I understood what was happening on March 11th because in 2012, I had downloaded the Rockefeller Lockstep document. And I understood what they were going to do when they brought out the false flag pandemic. And so when it happened on March 11th of 2020, I knew exactly what it was. And it played out exactly how they laid it out in the Rockefeller document. Like I said, revelation of the method. They always tell you what you're going to do. But if you're not privy to that information, if you never see it, it's not their fault. It's out there. It's out there in the public domain. And some of us have seen it. And some of us tried to warn you about what was going to happen. But we were ridiculed and we were mocked and we were ostracized. Right? And look who paid the consequences. Look who suffered the consequences of believing the lies. Because you violated natural law. Because they violated natural law. And you believe the lie. Right? Believing a lie is violating natural law. Because when you act on a lie, you're in violation. You're going to suffer a consequence. Right? So the whole world has been deceived at a level never before seen in history. Government and media are the primary tools of this deception. The information on this website is the antidote. The world will be made free only when it seeks, knows, accepts, and acts on the truth. Right? So that's what the Freedom Project 2020 is all about. And so once the website was done, I set to, and the website really exposes the system and the problems. This is how we got here, right? This is why we're here, right? This is where we are. This is the world we live in. And what I promised when I finished this website and launched it on November 11th of 2020, I worked on it for 5 months. I mean, hundreds of hours, working daily. Again, this is a full-time job what I'm doing here. And I'm not getting paid by anybody to do this. This is my passion because I know that humanity will never be free until we dissolve the matrix, right? So my promise when I finished this was to bring the solution within the next year. And that's what I did. The first part of this was to create a video series called Manifesting a New Reality. And I worked on this January through March. The first 3 parts are about an indictment of the system we live in. The next 3 parts are a proposal of a new system I'm calling the Natural Law Republic. And the last 4 are different sectors of society and how they would operate in a natural law republic. How to fix crime and punishment, how to rein in the corporatocracy, how to fix the media, and how to fix education. So that was the first video series. And while I was making this, I lost the most important person in my life. And that was my stepsister, Heather, in March of 2021. She passed away at 45 from cancer. And it was a system, ultimately, that killed her. And I went into a state of deep depression for 4 months after that. And I was able to knock out, I think, parts 7 and 8 during that time. I finished 9 and 10 later on in the year, and I never did. Parts 11 and 12 are scripted, but there was such little interest in it that I just, it's that feedback loop. If you don't get positive feedback on the positivity you're trying to put out there, you get frustrated and you give up. But they're scripted, and if people want it, I will finally make it. A lot of what was in 11 and 12 is coming out in this presentation, though. So after 4 months of deep depression, August 1st, I set out and I started working on this series called The Path to Freedom. So manifesting a new reality is essentially the goal, the vision, the destination. This is where we want to go. Path to Freedom is how we get there. Part 1 is about setting goals. If we don't have a goal, you're never going to get there. I mean, this is how life works. Without a destination in mind, we're never going to get there. You're going to keep on hacking at the branch of evil. We're not going to strike at the root. We have to know where we're going. All right, so that's what that's all about. We have to keep it simple was part 2. Parts 3 and 4 were about the strangest secret in the world. We become what we think about. So if we're not thinking about where we want to go, about our destination, we're going to be stuck in the matrix, right? If we continue to think about the world that they're creating and give our energy to that, that's the world we're going to end up in. So we have to think about the world that we want to create. Part 5 was about the documentation to create a natural law republic, and part 6 was me reciting the Declaration of Independence. Part 7 and 8 actually became part of my foundational video series, what I'm calling my Reclaiming the Mind course, where I talk about Kaizen, which is the Japanese philosophy of good change, identifying problems, applying solutions, and seeing how it works, right? That's the philosophy that I've been operating under since 1993, when I first found out about it. Part 2 is about understanding natural law. Part 3 was about the lost tools of learning, how they took the curriculum of the trivium away from us to purposely dumb us down. Part 5 is about perverting the meaning of one word that has, again, completely inverted society. Because what they do is they invert the meanings of words to get us to think things mean things that they don't. Which what they did with positive and positive law. People think positive law is good. No, it's actually negative. It's a law that's enforced on you against your will. And then my crash course in critical thinking, where I teach the trivium. What I didn't learn until I was 42, 43 years old. So that's my foundational video series. And going back to learning, none of what I'm presenting to you today, I knew before I turned 40. It was watching that video, America Freedom to Fascism, one late April night in 2007, when I finally woke up to reality and fully stepped out of the matrix. I didn't know any of this stuff. I've learned everything I'm presenting to you today in the last 18 years. And that's taken thousands of hours of research and learning and applying and devising solutions to the problems that I was recognizing by learning all this information. So this is about reclaiming the mind. And we've talked about the mind a lot in this video series, and that's one of the roots we need to strike at. People need to reclaim their mind. They need to reclaim the full capacity of their mind and how it was intended to work by our Creator. All right? So after I was done with the Path to Freedom, I created the documentation for a natural law republic, right? The Constitution, Confidence, Game Revealed, and the remaining 4 parts of this are me actually reciting the proposed Constitution for a natural law republic. The Constitution that's written in full alignment with natural law. All right. Baby Amber, I love you, but I'm working on a presentation. You're going to have to go lay down, buddy. You're going to have to go lay down, sweetie. Okay? All right. I'm going to have to put this on hold for a second. I will be back. Gotta go pee-pees? All right. Come on, let's go pee-pees. Okay, I'm back. Amber had to go outside. Sorry about that. Once I was done with this, this pretty much finalized the whole vision. Everything was ready to go. And I started promoting it on podcasts and things. And 2022, I sat down and I wrote an Emancipation Proclamation 2.0. As opposed to the original Emancipation Proclamation, which supposedly freed the slaves, but actually converted them into citizens, which the system could continue to extract and harvest their wealth from. That's another story. Emancipation Proclamation 2.0 is we the people declaring our independence and saying we're not asking permission. We're just going, right? Building the breakaway civilization. I wrote this blog series and I did an audio version of it. Humanity will never be free unless, what needs to be done to break free of oppression, the paradox of the illusory social contract, and 3 parts of a well-functioning society, right? So this is what I'm calling a macro solution. This is how we dissolve the matrix. We all decide that we're going to align with natural law, we're going to move to this system, and we're going to be free. So what is the process to make this transition? All right? So I've just given you the blueprint and the structure, the vision, the roadmap. It's all there. So how do we make this happen? Going back to those critical thinking questions, how do we go about voiding these adhesion contracts? What we have here is the documentation. And this is, once we get to critical mass, which I'm saying is 10% of the population. You know, wherever you are in the world, you can do the same thing. It's roughly 35 million people here in America, which is a fraction of the people who voted. Half the people who voted for Trump, half the people who voted for Biden, and, you know, a quarter of the people who didn't vote at all, right? The people are out there who are fed up with the system. And all we need is 35 million of them, and we can walk away. But this is the documentation. This is the way this is written. What we're doing is we're declaring our independence from the system. And we're stating in here that we are no longer under your jurisdiction, period. Okay? This is how it's done. And so I wrote this. You can read it. It's available on the website. And I just started writing out grievances as to why we're leaving, right? You know, if you're going to leave, you have to have reasons why. And I just started writing, and I started writing, and I started writing, and when I got done, when I felt like I had enough, I finished. And then I went back to the original Declaration of Independence, and lo and behold, both have 27 grievances. You know, I just started writing, and I was like, okay, that's enough. But both Declarations of Independence have 27 grievances. And so this is what it says. In every stage of these oppressions, these 27 grievances, the people have petitioned for a redress, had legitimate legal cases thrown out as frivolous by a captured and corrupted court system. And we have done so in the most humble and patient of terms. Our repeated petitions, protests, and demands for real justice have been met with repeated arrogance, injury, and rejection. A system of governance or societal management which operates under a character which in every way defines a tyranny is unfit to remain solvent, and the ruler to retain any power whatsoever over a free people. Right? I mean, look at what it does to us. This is what a system of positive law does to us. It's a rigged system. We can't get any true justice in this system. Once in a while they'll throw us a bone, make us believe that we still have power, that we still have rights, that we still have a voice. But for the most part, the system enslaves us. So everyone would sign it, and we'd send a copy to your representatives, the people who supposedly represent you under this jurisdiction. This is how we break free. This is how we break those adhesion contracts. You send it to your representative, your federal congressman and senator, as well as to your state representatives. Right? We're cutting all ties to the old system. Okay? And we also sign a new constitution. This is the Constitution for the Natural Law Republic of the United States of America. And you can, forever, whatever nation you're in, you can name it that. You know, we're taking back our country. Right? As opposed to every constitution enforced today, I honestly believe this is the first one ever written fully aligned with natural law. Every other constitution is written under the guise of positive law because it creates a government which enacts legislation which it enforces on the people. That's every constitution in existence, right? So there's no constitution that gives you freedom because no constitution is aligned with natural law. That's why we need a constitution fully aligned with natural law. And that's what this does. Okay? And at the end of it, go all the way to page 20. The ratification is every individual in the society is signatory to the Constitution. There's not a single Constitution in existence today that gets its authority from the signature of every individual in that society. The social contracts are illusory, right? They say, well, you just have to abide by this because this is how we create a civil society. No. In a natural law republic, everybody is signatory and everybody agrees that you accept it in all its articles and sections as supreme law of the land. And you do so because you understand that it aligns with natural law, that it recognizes you as a sovereign, individual, autonomous man or woman, period. And nobody in this system can come and screw with you. Nobody can come and enforce their will on you. Nobody can take anything from you, right? This is how we get to a world of complete freedom from where we are. And in this system, everybody has a personal sovereignty social contract that says, I am a sovereign individual and I agree to abide by this Constitution. Because if you go back to the Constitution, what it has, instead of a Bill of Rights, it has a declaration and definitions of full sovereign rights and responsibilities. There's no responsibilities in the Constitution, right? Because they're going to impose it anyway. They tell you you have rights, which you don't. You have privileges, but they're going to impose it on you. So you don't really need responsibility. Because if you violate these laws, we're going to throw you in a cage or steal your money anyway. In a natural law republic, we are declaring our rights and our responsibilities. The right to freedom of speech, the right to self-defense, the right to privacy, the right to due process of law. Common law, right? All common law is based in natural law. There is no positive law in a natural law republic. The right to private property, the right to pursue economic activity in whatever way we want. The right to travel, the right to health freedom. You're not going to inject poison into me in a natural law republic, and the right to religious worship. And then there's individual responsibilities. The responsibility to freedom of speech, the responsibility of self-defense, responsible use of private property, responsible respect of privacy, responsibility to respond to criminal complaints, right? If you're summoned to a court of common law, you have to show up. You agree to it in the Constitution and with your personal sovereignty social contract. The responsibility of economic activity, the responsible use of public roadways, the responsibility of personal education. Education is a responsibility. It's not, not a right. The government's not going to educate you here. In a system aligned with natural law, education is going to be part of the private sector. But every educational institution is going to be required to teach the language arts, the trivium and the quadrivium, so that people know how to think. Responsibility to personal health. Healthcare is not a right, it's a responsibility. And the responsibility to religious beliefs. You can't impose your religious beliefs on someone else. You can worship God in whatever way you want, but this creates a world of complete freedom. Right? We're all agreeing to essentially be decent human beings. We're all signing a Constitution that creates that entity. So we're all personal sovereigns, and we enact what's called the Public Service Administration to replace government, to ensure that the system operates under natural law. And the Public Service Administration also creates the common law court system, where everybody goes to settle their disputes, right? So everything we need is here. And it all aligns with natural law. I challenge anybody to look at this and show me where it doesn't fully align with natural law. And then, again, these are the checks and balances of this system. Everyone has a personal sovereignty, social contract. If you're in a PSA, you have two. You have personal sovereignty plus Public Service Administration. And if you violate natural law or your duties, you're fired. We the people hire you to do this job. If you don't do it right, we're going to fire you and find someone who does. And then every business has a fiduciary duty social contract. So these are the checks and balances, because what a society is an economic entity, right? People have to do something every day. You find your gift, you put your energy into it, you share it with the world, and the world pays you back in kind. The value that they perceive from what you've created. That's how an economic system is supposed to work, without entities above you extracting the wealth from it. A little portion of every bit of energy that you create. So I'm actually working on, that's going to be my next big project, a full comprehensive economic model in this natural law republic, so that everyone can see that this is how the economy is going to work in this natural law republic. We touch upon it in the Constitution here a little bit, but I'm going to fully expand on how an economy would work in a natural law republic, and how each individual personal sovereign would keep 100% of their income and only pay for what you use, right? That's a system aligned fully with natural law. So this is the process to break those adhesion contracts. Once we all agree, and we do this all at once. You don't do it onesie twosie. All right? We have to create a critical mass, because that's when we walk away in mass, that's how we do it in safety. We don't all go to one place, we stay where we are. We stand our ground. And you don't have jurisdiction over me. I own this property, and we will negotiate how to pay off whatever principal is left, because we have power at 35 million people, at 10% of the population. And once we do this, the rest are going to follow us, right? This is how we peacefully dissolve the matrix. And what I've said in a couple of my presentations in the past, if 160 million people who voted on November 5th, instead of voting, had they all declared their independence from the system, we would have peacefully dissolved government back in November, overnight, and created something new, something of our creation, of our desire, that creates a world that we want to live in. This is all it takes. This is as simple as it is. And all we have to do is create the critical mass. We have to create the desire to want to be free from this system of oppression. So that's the process. All right, so let's move on. What we're doing with this process is we are converting this system that we live in, we are walking away from in peace. Just like Samuel Adams said we had a right to. We're free to walk away. And we're creating something that looks like this. This is what I created for my Manifesting New Reality series. And essentially we're creating a system of co-equal individuals and societal organizations. All right? By co-equal individuals, I mean nobody has power over anybody else in this system. Everybody has equal power. You have complete sovereignty and autonomy over your own life. And no one can tell you what to do. Unless you violate someone else's rights or property, then you will be called to a court of common law, which you will have to answer for. And if you have violated, you will be forced to make that victim whole, as it should be. That's how law should work. The only victim is someone who's been harmed, right? There is no law against the state, right? You have to do harm to someone to commit a crime. So, the power is held equally among everyone. No one is above anybody in this system. If you want to join the Public Service Administration, you essentially just have a higher level of responsibility. And that's it. So as we move up into the protector class, societal firewall, right, from anybody who wants to try and harm us, this is how the system works. Equal power, but higher responsibility. And that's it. It's a system of individual personal responsibility where everybody's equal. Isn't that how the world should work? And isn't the only authority that we should recognize natural law? All these systems that we live under over here, this is all illegitimate authority. It all violates natural law, the entire system. Okay? That's why we're not free. So once we recognize natural law as the only authority, this quote from Gerald Massey makes a lot of sense. They must find it difficult, those who have taken authority as truth, rather than truth as authority. Right? Authority is not truth. Truth is the authority. And truth is natural law. As we've said, natural law is all objective reality in existence. Objective truth is natural law. Okay? So, that's how we break those adhesion contracts and create a new system. So what needs to be done to bring this vision to fruition? Number one, education. You need to educate yourself, your family, your friends, and your community. And I've shown you, everything is there. Everything you need to educate yourself is all on the Freedom Project 2020 website, right? Everything is there. So the only cost to you, it's all free. The only cost to you, as my friend David Greenberg says, who also teaches natural law, you have to spend time and pay attention to what we're saying. Because we are leading you to a world of complete freedom and out of your bondage from positive law, from the matrix. We need to build a critical mass of at least 10%. That is what I believe is a safe tipping point. In the past, it's been said that many times 3.5% was all it took to have a peaceful revolution. But every revolution in the past has only replaced a figurehead. It's left the system in place. And they're okay with that. The hierarchy enslaving you is okay with those the color revolutions that they create. Because it's just changing things on the game board, right? Moving around the chess pieces. No revolution in history has ever created a system aligned with natural law. And that's what we're doing. This is how we break free. And so this is 3 times greater than the past peaceful revolutions. Because what we're doing is creating something completely new. We're breaking free of the system. We're creating the breakaway civilization. We need to create a functional economic system with debt-free currency. And this is one of the primary keys, and I'm going to talk about this in my next big video. But as we build critical mass, we are going to attract the resources we need to create this functional economic system. So what we'll do when we break free, we sign those documents, we send them off, and then we transfer our wealth, dollar for dollar, from the old currency into the new debt-free currency. And we just start exchanging with that between everyone else that's in the new system. So that's how it works. And we need to build this. This is how we create a world of complete freedom. We need to pick out trusted leaders for the Public Service Administration, and by their fruit they shall be known. We know the people out there who have been working towards this end, but who have been hacking at the branches of evil for the most part. We need them to join us to strike at the root. People like Catherine Austin Fitts, who still operates within that old paradigm of positive law. I think she would be very much interested in joining something like this, because this is something that can just destroy the system peacefully. We need to meet to finalize and agree on the documentation. This documentation I've created, this is my proposal. I'm sure it will go through many incarnations before it's finalized, but I've written it in as simplest terms as possible so that everybody can agree and understand what it means. But, we'll have like a constitutional convention and we'll agree on final documentation. This is what everyone's going to sign. This is going to create the new entity, the new natural law republic. And again, that'll be closer to when we hit critical mass. And then we will choose a date for emancipation from the system. And this is the date we're all going to send our documentation in, declare our independence from the system. We need to work cooperatively together to build this macro solution. I can't do it alone. You can't do it alone. 10 people, 1,000 people. We need to work together. We need to pick one thing, right? Because we're up against an enemy who has one thing. Their one thing is called One World Government, United Nations, SDG 2030. They're all working towards that digital panopticon, which will give them all power over us and make us slaves to their system. Because we haven't built a system to walk away from and say, screw you, we're not going there, right? We have to pick one thing. And again, there's nothing else out there like this. This natural law republic is something I came up with based on 18 years of work and tens of thousands of hours. Because I want humanity to be free in my lifetime, not generations ahead. Think about how easy this would be. If we just change our mind and decide this is where we're going to go, we're going to create a world of complete freedom, we just do it. It doesn't have to take generations. We just do it overnight. And we're free. And everyone will follow us. Once a breakaway civilization is built and shown to be a valid proof of concept, the rest will join us and starve the matrix of its energy source. This is how we do it. We decide we're going to create a natural law republic. All right? We're going to help build the infrastructure. We're going to help build the critical mass. And we're going to decide on a date that we're going to leave peacefully. All right? And if 10% breaks away, see, the 90% living in fear, living in the matrix, they're still stuck in that false left-right paradigm. They think they only have two options, Coke and Pepsi, Democrat and Republican. They think that, well, those third-party things, they never work because it's all operating within the matrix. They think we have to choose the lesser of two evils. Well, no. Natural law republic, all sovereignty and power restored back to you. Complete freedom. That's what I'm proposing. And I think that's a world that everyone should want to live in, if you want to be free. And inherently in our souls, we do want to be free. We were given free will, right? And we're deceived into believing that freedom, that we have freedom, but it's just an illusion, right? All right, so let's recap this real quick. It's been a long time. This is a lot longer than I ever intended it to be, but everything that's said needs to be said. It is what it is. You can't make a 15-second TikTok video to show the people of the world how to be free. It needs to be explained in the way that I explained it here. So we started off where we are, right? This is the matrix. This is where we are. This is the world that we live in. This is the system of control and the prison for our mind, right? As long as this exists, humanity will never be free. We talked about the difference between natural law versus positive law. We came to the conclusion that we can never be free under a system of positive law. We have to create a system of natural law. And that's what this system looks like right here. Okay? We have a destination, we have a vision, we have a goal that we can work towards, right? We have the blueprint, it's there for you, and we have a roadmap to complete freedom. So everything's there. We need to build it, all right? I've offered you the solution, and I've already got a lot of people on board who are sharing this, but how do you get people excited about freedom? I don't know. That's a $64,000 question. But as long as we hack at the branches of evil, we will never strike at the root. You get 35 million people to strike at the root, and that tree of oppression will fall. Okay? It'll die. Because we're the energy for the system. We are the energy that they harvest to keep this system in place. If we take our energy and we move it into this, that's what we'll create. And it'll be a beautiful world. And never forget that this is their system, right? And thus, it is not ours to change. To try and change it is to hack at the branches of evil. It is working just as it is intended to operate. To attempt to fix it or change it is futile. And all attempts to do so, thus far, have failed. We have no real power in this big system, and never have. The only solution is to create a system of our own, and just walk away, which is what I've shown you. This is how we do it. We can create a world of peace, abundance, and harmony, and once our energy is gone, it will die on its own. That's how we starve the system. And we've got one more acronym up there. It's their system. It's the hierarchy eviscerating individual rights, right? So they, them, and their. It's all about the hierarchy. Enslaving, eviscerating our rights, and extorting us. And if you're done with it, if you're tired of government not being responsive, I mean, look at what they've done in North Carolina after that geoengineered storm that destroyed the lives of thousands of people. They don't care. They just want your land. But this hierarchy, this is the reality they want you to believe, right? That we're down here and we're powerless. You know, these little ants on the bottom. We're just the powerless little drones. That they harvest our energy to create this entire monster that's oppressing us, right? We change the system and we change the world. But this is the reality they want you to believe, that this is all powerful, that this hierarchy is all powerful. But I want to show you the objective reality of this system. And this is what it looks like. This is the system right here. And again, with their revelation of the method, they tell us. They tell us how to free ourselves. And they told us in A Bug's Life. If you let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. If you ever let them figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. So as long as we believe that they have all the power, they have all the power. But it's not 100 to 1. It's over 1,000,000 to 1. 6,000 people controlling the system. They are outnumbered by 1,000,000 to 1. And their greatest fear is the day we figure that all out. This is why they do all they can to divide us into groups and get us to fight one another. It is a sure way to conquer an entire world population and control us. We must stop playing into their hands and stop playing by their rules. If we want total freedom, only we can create it. The system is never going to give you freedom. All right? The system is about enslaving you and extorting your wealth. We, the people of this earth, the 8 billion beautiful souls, are the true creators of all material wealth in this world. Right? We create everything. The system in which we've lived our entire lives has been harvesting our energy and stealing our money for centuries to the tune of trillions in real wealth. Without us, they would have nothing of value. We've built all of their palaces and their mansions and their buildings and their businesses. We've done it. We've created everything. Why do we give them the lion's share when we're the true creators? We are the economic engine of our world, and we have all the power once we realize it. By transitioning to a new system of our own creation, we'll restore all power, sovereignty, and wealth back to the people, where it has always belonged. Only united as one cohesive force can we accomplish what needs to be done to emancipate ourselves from mental and physical slavery. The time has come, and we cannot wait any longer. This is our world, not theirs. It's time to take it back. And that's my message. You know, we have all the power. Look at this. Over 1,000,000 to 1. What are we waiting for, people? So, what can you do to help create a world of complete freedom? Because I can't do it alone. I can give you the ideas, but it's going to be up to us. We have to do this. Many hands make light work, and a rising tide lifts all boats. Let's lift each other up, right? A couple of proverbs there for you. No one man can create freedom. Harmonize with the knowledge and understanding that natural law is the only guide we need to create this new reality. The curriculum is out there. I've shown you where to find it. I've given you a ton of it. It's all free. We need to harmonize with this knowledge. Share this knowledge and plan of action with everyone. Let them know there is a superior alternative to the false left-right political paradigm and system that's abused us for generations. You know, back in the 70s and 80s, there used to be book clubs, and people would meet in homes, and they would read the books and then talk about it, you know, and meet once a week and share their thoughts. And what if we had video clubs? Let's all meet and go over this content, watch parts of Manifest a New Reality and talk about it, and then meet at someone's house the next week and watch the next 3 parts and talk about it. And we need to get our communities involved. You know, you can have meetings at the library. Most libraries in this country have meeting rooms with multimedia. You know, we could show these videos in the libraries. I tried doing this back in 2011 before I had created all this, back in my hacking at the branches phase, right? We're the ones. This is grassroots. It's not going to be given to us. We have to create this, but I've given you everything you need. Belief, right? We have to believe that this natural world order of complete freedom is not only possible but inevitable with the right effort. We're not going into your new world order. We're creating a natural world order. And as long as we believe strongly enough that it's possible, we'll get there. If we don't believe it'll happen, it's never going to happen. If you don't think it's possible, you're not going to put any effort into making it happen. Right? But again, it's all there. We just need the numbers. We have to reject the fear that has held humanity back for centuries. We have all the power once we realize it. Fear is the great paralyzer. It's false evidence appearing real. Again, the fear is created by the Matrix. It's what they want you to believe. They want you to believe you have no power. We have to break free of that. We have to free our minds, just like Romans 12:2 said. Don't conform to the system anymore. The system is fear. Love will create the new reality. We have to renew our minds. That's what my work is all about. You need to rein in the ego and be open to all possibilities and information contrary to your current program beliefs, because your beliefs were programmed by the Matrix, by the system that wants to enslave you. They want to keep you enslaved so they can continue to harvest your energy. That's what you can do to help. How can you help financially to build the breakaway civilization? And this is the hardest part for me, because as someone who was raised by a narcissist who used money as a method of control, who never gave anything without a guilt trip being attached to it, I got into the habit of not asking for anything anymore. I don't like to ask for things, but I also have the realization that I can't continue to do this work without help from other people. What I've survived on for the last 26 years, the source of income, through no fault of my own, is gone. It was the fault of other people and mismanagement of the business and people actually violating natural law that caused me to lose my source of income. So this is my full-time job. I can't go back into the Matrix. My integrity won't allow me to do that. I can't sign any of the documents that would force me to go in there. I have created an LLC, which I'll show you in a second. But a couple of ways you can help. And the first one is to support me on Substack. I have Kaizen and the Pursuit of Truth on Substack, and this is where I'm going to be putting out all the work that I create moving forward, that 10-minute video series. What I'm going to be doing with this series is showing in these little 10-minute videos where people are hacking at the branches of evil and how the natural law republic would solve those problems, to get people to come along and watch larger 2-hour presentations like this to get the full big picture. But that's what I'm going to be creating moving forward. But this is my website. The latest one up there about being run off the road and slammed into a mailbox, and how people violate the natural law every day, and how more often it's the innocent that suffer the consequences, because the Matrix violates natural law every day, and it's the billions who suffer because of it. That's the whole purpose of writing that article. I use what happened to me as a teachable moment to show how we're all suffering by the system abusing us every day. So you can support me over there. You can subscribe monthly at $5 a month. And I just want to say, nothing I create will ever be hidden behind a paywall. All right? I feel that what I create is of so much value that everyone needs to see it. It needs to be free, even if you can't afford to. So I'm never going to hide anything behind a paywall. Subscriptions are for those who choose to support my work. If you find value in this and you want to support me, this is how you can do it. You can throw $5 a month at me. The more I get, the harder I'm going to work. I've already worked. You've seen how hard I've worked already to create this, and nobody's paid me a dime for this. But I'm out of income. All right, my income is gone. So I need help. Suggestions for subscriber benefits are always welcome, or you can support me for as little as 10 cents a day. For $36 a year, you can contribute to helping build the breakaway civilization. It's 40% cheaper than subscribing monthly. So, there's a budget option. If you want to be a founding member of the breakaway civilization of the Natural Law Republic, right up here you can choose, you can donate whatever you want. It's suggested $150, but you can put whatever number in there you want. Knock yourself out. Every dollar that you spend or donate is going to be used to help build this breakaway civilization and support me so that I can do this work and I don't have to go back and waste time feeding the beast. Because this is my job. I've chosen to do this for 18 years and I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. until we get there, until we create the natural law republic. This is my calling in life. And it shows in the work that I've done. So you can do that, or you can support my business. And I've created a business called Living Well Under Natural Law. And it's Living Well VNL. It's shortened to VNL. The VNL is short for Under Natural Law. And I used V because UNL looks like unleaded or unlimited. And they use the V as essentially an arrow meaning under. You know, that's how you use under in text, right? So it's Living Well Under Natural Law. This is my logo. It's you can see the LW under Living Well under NL Natural Law, and it's represented by the 4 elements of nature, surrounded by the ether. That red line around it is the ether. The ether is the lifeblood of our reality, right? So that's the symbolism there of living well under natural law. My motto is truth is all that matters, because that's what natural law is. Natural law is all objective truth. Are we living at our full potential, or is humanity thriving or merely surviving in the current system? Our world, society, civilization, the power paradigm in which we live are completely out of balance by design of those driven by greed and lust for power. Despite our world being designed to create abundance, as we've talked about earlier, virtually everything is operating fully out of alignment with natural law. Thus, scarcity, poor health, misery, and suffering are a daily reality for billions, even in wealthy nations. Understanding and aligning with the most powerful universal force can turn all around. That most powerful universal force, as we know by now, is natural law. Right? We're the ones we've been waiting for. So, what I have is I'm affiliated with all these companies. These are all products that I use on a daily basis. And you can order your products through here, and I will get a commission on every sale. So you can support me through the business as well. My free courses are here: Reclaiming Your Mind, Achieving Optimal Health. This is a blog roll. These are my most popular blogs. And then all my social media is right here. Substack and Facebook are where I post most regularly. Once in a while I'll pop in an X and post something that will draw people to my work. And then I've got all my video channels: YouTube, Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, YouTube, and Brighteon. Obviously, YouTube is the main one with Kaizen and the Pursuit of Truth. So everything's right here on livingwellvnl.com. And then the Freedom Project 2020 link is right there. And, then we talk about natural law, how natural law applies to health, fitness, growth, and wealth. Natural law applies to every aspect of our life. The store is there. You can go here. If you click on the link, it'll take you directly to the business, or you can go to the store in my website, which will tell you exactly the products I use and why I use them. So I use all these products every day to maintain optimal health, which is what I talk about in these free courses: Reclaiming the Mind and Achieving Optimal Health. And in this course, I teach how I've learned to align with natural law as far as health is concerned, and what I've learned over the years to achieve optimal health. And as I was actually creating this course, and I was placing some pictures in my videos, I realized, wow, I actually have, at 57 years old, the exact same body I had when I was 21. This is 36 years difference. I'm 175 pounds, I'm 5'11", a chest of 42, and a waist of 30. I mean, I essentially have the exact same body I had at 21. And that's only because I've learned to align with natural law. And that's all the information I share in that Achieving Optimal Health video series. So, I teach you how to reclaim the mind. I teach you how to reclaim your health, to break out of the system. You don't need to be in that medical industrial complex. I haven't been in that system since 1998, 27 years now. I haven't needed it because I've learned to align with natural law. And that's the key to everything. This is the key to a world of complete freedom. We have always had the power. And I came across this quote from Wilhelm Reich a couple years ago. But this is really powerful. and this is really the key, and think about this. If the psychic energies of the average mass of people watching a football game or any sports or musical comedy, and you know how excited you get and how much of your energy and your passion you throw into a football team or a baseball team or a movie or a play or, whatever, right? You know how that triggers our emotions. Take that energy and divert it into the rational channels of a freedom movement, which is what this is all about, which is what I'm proposing. They would be invincible, right? All that energy that the Matrix wants us to focus on, that diverts our energy into these breads and circuses that keep us enslaved, if we direct that into the energies of a freedom movement, there's nothing we can't do. We would create this world of complete freedom, right? We don't need to be where we are. And we'll take all the things that we like from this system with us, but we're going to be operating under a different set of priorities. We're going to be aligned with natural law, and we're going to be completely free. And we're going to be able to live our lives as we choose. And we're going to have freedom unlike we've ever experienced in our entire life. This is it. There are two types of pain you will go through in life. The pain of discipline and the pain of regret. Discipline weighs ounces, while regret weighs tons. All I'm asking you is to focus on the solution. It's simple. It's just changing your mind. All we have to do is change our minds and realize that we're in a system of enslavement. That's where we are. If we want a world of complete freedom, we just have to accept natural law as the truth, as the only guide we need, right? Because if we end up in the world that's planned for us against our will, the regret we're going to feel and the world we're going to pass on to our children, that's going to weigh on you the rest of your life. You'll take it to your grave. But the discipline it takes to create a natural law republic in a new world, that's nothing. It's nothing. It's so simple. I've done the work. I've spent 18 years and over 60,000 hours of my life. I've applied it to my life, and you've seen the results. It is the key to freeing humanity. So that's it. Thank you very much for sticking this out with me. I thought it was going to be an hour to an hour and a half, but everything that was said needed to be said. I love you all, and let's do this. We can create an entirely new world. Thanks to everyone who participated in Freedom Under Natural Law 4. This is our world. Let's do this. I will see you moving forward on all my platforms, and I look forward to creating this new world. Take care. Bye-bye.